So we are using the latest version of RSTUDIO. I am doing that on my MacBook, but my two colleagues are doing that on the newest version on Windows as of June 2021. So basically this template from Oxford Down gives you a lot of files, a lot of folders, which is maybe difficult to start with because we had to figure all of that out as well. But I assure you it takes maybe one day to figure out the whole template, and then you are up and running. And if you watch the videos from Ulrich Links and you've stumbled upon this video, then I guess it will take half a day to master this template, as you can see. So it's very easy to use. You can just change your things. So the Index.Rmd, it's basically the thesis metadata. So you change your title to your own thesis. You change your the author name. I had to figure out how to add other authors, so I added my colleagues with some spaces between. As you can see here, some spaces are put in using LaTeX here. And of course footnotes for our email addresses, so that we are all available if we want to publish this paper eventually. But yeah, you can download the logo of your university, put it inside of a subfolder, call that a logo. I think the belt crest was the one for the Oxford Down thesis. But yeah, we are students from AMS, so we don't use the belt crest logo, but the AMS logo. I can show it here. I think templates. So here the belt crest PDF was shown, but we want the AMS logo on our thesis here. And then, yeah, the degree date, your degree, the professors you can add using text, your promoter, for example. And if you want, you can put your abstracts on the same page. But yeah, I think this thing, just put your abstract on a new page. So it depends if you add some features of this Index.Rmd to true or false. So no binds is easy for equal margins on each side of the PDF. At first I put it to two sides for two-sided binding. So for your printing of your paper, this can be very nice. But yeah, the no bind is of course easier for online submissions. Then I think a thing we also use for revisions is include line number. This allows you to number literally every line of your thesis. So for example, this would be line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, 6, 7, and then every line, let's say, is numbered so that your promoter can say, on line, let's say 200, there is a mistake in your spelling, fix that, or what do you mean in line 500, and then it's very easy for your promoter to give you comments on your PDF via mail or so. But yeah, you can change your titles, I think, a bit here. So here Works Cited is used, but you can really make it your own. I think here you can also add a custom message, as we did as well, a separate page to honor your family next to your acknowledgements, basically. So that's basically the first part of this series, of this video, let's say. Then we'll dive deep in the introduction, So a particular thing we had is we needed a list of symbols. We solved that issue by just putting an unnumbered chapter um, inside of your introduction file. So the new R Markdown, RSTUDIO, allows you to work very nicely with tables. So you can just click on this symbol here, and you can, for example, let's say here, add a new table. You can insert a table, and you have your table. So it's really super nice to work with, and you can also more easily find citations because RStudio is connected with Zotero, so you can basically just go to your Zotero library and choose your citation you want to add, and this is also dynamically linked, as you can see here. Dynamically linked, super cool. Or cross-reference you can also add, so you can insert a cross-reference to your title. The only thing you have to do then is here give an ID, sorry, and then you can cross-reference to the introduction, for example, which we didn't do at this point, but for the literature review we did here. So this has an ID. So this is basically the introduction. You can also insert quotes, etc. By, I think, yeah, here you cannot see it, but let's say here you want a bullet points, or that's just this symbol, or a quote that's larger than sign. So that's all very nice to work with using the visual editor, and it's also something that is much closer to Word users and Office users than before, I think, by just looking at lines and numbers, a bit less structure, but now it is useful. So then, for example, the literature review, this contains the quote. So this is also something that's inside the first version of Ulrich Links. You can add a quote. Here we added one because, yeah, the chapter numbers, they take a lot of white space. So you can fill it with some quotes. Of course, you don't want to use the space with nothing of content, so it should be irrelevant. Otherwise, just leave it blank. Then blank is always better than not relevant. As you can see, we also added some latex and some specifications to delete the white space between the equations, and some reference tables. But the nice thing I want to show as well is in the findings. If you have really like a lot of codes, 1000 lines, and the codes takes a lot of time with a lot of loops because you are maybe not that good of a programmer. I'm also not saying that we are good programmers. We are not. We just use some packages. So for example, we have this code and it takes 4.5 minutes. At first it took not long, but yeah, we changed the code a bit, and now sometimes the one line of code takes 10 minutes to run. So what we did is put everything to eval as false. After we have run it, we ran it on our computer, and then we just said, okay, save image. I think we did it after the rolling windows, save image. So environment plus the ACD, because this thing also takes 4.5 minutes. So yeah, it takes some time. And then you can put everything to eval is false. So you can put it to echo as false or eval as false. I hope you know this by now by using R. But then you can just load your environment at some line and then it takes, for example, 1 minute to knit the file, and it's quite cool. It doesn't take long normally, so yeah, it's quite cool. There is an error for some reason, so get working directory. So yeah, of course, I have to just set this as working directory again, and then that issue is solved normally. So if you then knit it, it takes, for example, 1 minute or so. So you can here knit your individual chapter as well to a PDF document too, and then you generate basically a PDF file of that one chapter. So it's really nice. Yeah, you get some warnings sometimes, but that's not a big issue, because most of these warnings are because of references to other chapters, so that's not a big issue, as you can see. But loading the environment and saving the environment, it saves a lot of knitting, so you can generate your PDF a lot faster. If you have to wait for your rolling windows with your loops and parameter estimation using maximum likelihood estimation, it takes a super long time to get your data. So yeah, that was the findings. Very nice that we found that solution to generate PDFs much faster, much quicker. But you have to be careful, of course, with your environment to save the right one, of course, on your data set if you change something. So that's basically the main parts of your thesis. So the introduction, literature review, data methodology, and your findings. And the things you have to just manage to do is put no indents, because most of the time your text is indented, so you don't want it. Put new pages before titles, because you want the title to start on a new page, and these kind of small adjustments, very nice to use. But how exactly do we build the book? Because yeah, these are all different R Markdown files, but how do we compile them as one? So there are several ways, and you can also look at Ulrich Link's his video channel on YouTube, which explains it as well. So basically, you can just click on build all. Okay, I have a save that I still need to do, but then what that does is it creates a main.rmd, which is basically the whole code. So you can click on it and you can copy all the code. I can do that and click on the main, and it's basically all the code for that contains your thesis. But yeah, we do not use that. It gets compiled. Most of the time you hope for no errors, of course, but we have tried to optimize the code that much so that it takes not a lot of time to knit all the individual chapters. So in that sense, the whole thesis is also quite fast to compile. So the stop is still red, so it's still running, and we wait. It's finished, so now we can check the docs folder, which contains the PDF. So let's click on it, and here you can see the new PDF generated around this time of the day. So that looks perfect. So it's quite fast. Try to optimize your code per chapter, and then you get your book quite fast. So that was it basically. Thank you for listening to this video. I hope everything is clear and how everything exactly works. So professors. I hope you can read through all the codes chapter by chapter, and then you can have a bit more structure by just checking the chapters by chapter. And I would recommend for everyone that wants to use RStudio in the future to use it, because it's really a super cool tool for your PDFs. And you can basically also do inline code, so that everything is dynamic. I just changed some small thing that gave nothing. But now it works, so that's the best. That's the most important thing. But anyways, thank you for listening, and I wish you the best.